Well, David Lubars, thanks for joining me today, Chairman and Chief Creative Officer at BBDO. You've been in the business for many years. You've overseen work for clients including AT&T, GE, Mars is another client, FedEx. You've seen so much change take place in this industry. As we sit here now, given how digital and how multi-channel our environment is, how would you define creativity?
Well, in some ways it's the same as it's always been. In some ways it's very different. Mm-hmm. The way it's the same is you need a big idea, a very simple reductionist idea that anybody can get and relate to. Mm-hmm. That's always been true. In fact, not just in advertising, the best novels, movies. If I tell you the kid can see dead people but nobody else can, you know what movie I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. It's a 15-year-old movie. Mm-hmm. So that was their reduction idea, and they built it into 2 hours of entertainment. So that's really what we do too.
Right.
The difference, though, is instead of a script or a piece or anything, now what you do is you have a big upstream idea, and then it goes into 15 different channels, and not necessarily just media. It could be an installation. It could be something, and the idea is to surround and delight and surprise your consumer and make them kind of love the brand in a lot of different ways.
That has big implications, of course, for the agency, obviously, in terms of skill set, talent, capabilities, because you're working in a multitude of places, and there needs to be that consistency of brand essence still.
It's true. It's totally true. It's like, like the Olympics are announced. It makes me think it's like being a decathlete. You have to be able to do a lot of different things, but the overall thing is based on the idea.
Has always remained the same.
Yeah, so it used to be you'd write a script, and then you'd say maybe there's a couple other things we can surround that script with, but it's around a script. That was the sun was the script, and then maybe a few little planets. Right? Now it's different. Now you have to have the idea, and then it can maybe become a script, and it can maybe become this and that and this. It's kind of a different way to think.
But you have to be thinking about that going in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we're also living in a time where ROI is critical. CMOs are under the gun, as they always have been, to deliver results. How does creativity square with this need to measure and produce ROI and focus on metrics? Where is that intersection?
Well, actually, any good creative in advertising actually likes that. It sounds weird to say, but in the movie, I have friends in the movie business. It's like a crapshoot. Like, I hope this script is entertaining, and that's why it's so crazy there. We have strategies and things we're supposed to achieve, and there's ways of measuring beyond just if people went to after the fact. Particularly in digital. I mean, you can find, because the thing about digital is it's about reaching individuals and having this engagement with them. But on the other hand, you don't want to throw away some of the mass things like television, because it's the only way to reach a lot of eyeballs. So it's got to be the right kind of combination. You have to calibrate it right, the right combination to, again, as I say, surround and hopefully delight.
So to that point, I mean, you always are known as being the person who's looking for the next new thing, and yet you have gone out there and absolutely said that TV is still a very vital component of a media mix.
It's true. It's just how my career path has gone, where I've been involved in a lot of these new things. And it wasn't just to be new. It was because the problems that the clients presented us needed other solutions, and so it worked out that way. But I've never said that TV isn't still a very important component, because again, how do you get 80 million eyeballs in one shot? You can't except using that. And now television seems to be in this really like a golden age. There's so many things on now that are good, you can't even get to them all.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, I haven't gotten to that way. Now there's still a lot of crap on there too, but there's a lot of really good things on there, and so why not take advantage of that and use it for your clients?
Well, we're coming down to the end of the Olympics right now, and there have been some, I think, great ads around the Olympics, some of yours included.
Oh, kind of you.
But people, I think, still look at large events like Super Bowl and like the Olympics as a place to obviously attract a lot of attention in one fell swoop. Still has to be very good creative, of course. We are also coming off of Cannes, the Cannes Advertising Festival, which was about a month ago. Let's talk a little bit about that, the value of winning an award at Cannes. How has that changed over the years? Is it still as vital as it always was?
Well, I think it's more vital because it used to be like a beauty contest for creatives to, out testosterone each other, I guess. Now clients go, and the reason they're going now is, it's a very positive thing, because they realize that creativity applied correctly and not in a gratuitous way, but in a really way that's about the product, is an economic multiplier. It's inarguable now. In fact, there's been several studies done by left-brain research people outside of advertising where award-winning creative is 11 times more effective than not. And we see it we've seen it ourselves because all the stuff that wins for us at Cannes also wins the effectiveness awards. People love storytelling. They don't want to just be told, they want to be story told. That's how it's always been with humans. And so now there's such choices and there's so many ways to avoid watching things you don't want to watch. The price of entry is something engaging.
Sure.
It's pretty logical.
Right. What needs to be shared responsibility moving forward from both the agency side and the client side? Specifically, what does the client need to take ownership of vis-a-vis what the agency needs to own moving forward? And how does that change in this digital social world?
Yeah, I guess I look at it a little differently. I think the ideal relationship today is it is a team. It's true, one pays the other, so one is service industry, one is, but it's basically a team together responsible for everything. The client
More
has
so
to be an
than
advocate.
in the past?
Well, I just think the stakes are so much higher and things happen so much faster, and it's so much more involved and layered. The ideal relationship is you're on the same team and it's 10 o'clock at night and you're all sitting together and a lot of lines get blurred and so when it's a really good relationship, there's a lot of trust there and the boats all lift higher in that tide of partnership.
And certainly CMOs are being called upon to be not just custodians of ad campaigns in their companies, but they're supposed to be overseeing and responsible for overall business growth as well.
It's true. And people on the agency side are responsible for helping with business extensions and getting involved with the client in ways that before they weren't. So again, it gets blurry, but I think it really lifts the work and the results.
Biggest pushback from clients these days? Biggest concerns, pain points on their part that you see?
Well, I just think because of the economy, that money is always an issue. So how do we do things as efficiently, as cost effectively as possible? And it makes you think in the pre recession days, there wasn't waste, but now it's like the super not waste.
Yeah, everybody's under the gun,
Yeah.
so there's really no more leeway. So what's the future look like, certainly for BBDO, but for the industry as a whole?
Well, and again, I've been lucky enough to be part of these kind of things that kind of showed a new way forward, but I never position myself as a futurist, and I don't believe in other futurists who think because you can't, in 2005, no Facebook, no anything, it was Friendster and all this other stuff that you don't even hear about anymore. So who can predict?
Yeah.
You can talk about what's about to happen or what's just happening now. So obviously mobile is like hugely important, but that's today, that's not the future. But the real future, 6 years from now,
Who knows?
so the answer is, I think one job for the agencies are to never allow themselves to let the cement harden. Like you're supposed to keep stirring it and stay liquid to be open to all these new things that will present themselves and reveal themselves and how you can use it to help your client win.
Let's talk about how all marketers are really looking to build better engagement with consumers. And one way they're certainly doing that is through creating content, storytelling. Talk a little bit about that phenomenon, what you've been doing on behalf of your clients in that regard.
Well, yeah. First of all, we look at everything we do as content and storytelling, no matter what it is. But I think what you're referring to is some of these longer form pieces. So we just did this Daybreak project for AT&T, and the reason that happened just purely for strategic reasons. AT&T's network, it was designed and it's nuanced and it's thought through to connect in all kinds of different ways, and it all plays off itself, and there's like a bigger picture there than just, you know, a product or a connection or a app. You know. So we thought to explain the vastness and the thoughtfulness of this network needed a bigger canvas. And so we went to the labs, we did a lot of research, and we kind of created this skeleton of how it all works together. And then we built on top of the skeleton a body of entertainment so people would want to engage with it and stay with it. And so it became this Daybreak project, and it's kind of this Born Identity-like sort of adventure. And that was intentional because the fast pace of it allowed you to show a lot of different AT&T things. And the most gratifying thing about that project is, you know, in addition to, you know, all the views and hits it's getting, people think the project shows the technology seamlessly throughout, as opposed to like planting in some product placement or, oh look, now they're jacking a project.
Plus it's escalating it beyond just the functional aspects of it to sort of the more transcendent
and how people live with it and
meaning.
how it affects stuff, and nothing in those plot points could have happened without I mean, it's really seamlessly integrated. So I think that's something I think you're starting to see a lot of ways of brands and companies to tell their story in a more defined, you know, bigger, in-depth way.